Hello everyone, my name is Olivia, and I thought it would be really fun to watch some of my favorite film talkers' favorite movies. One of my favorite communities on TikTok is the film community. I find so many different recommendations from so many different creators that I really trust, and I love hearing their discussions about films and TV shows. And one of my favorite aspects of the film community is the fact that we all usually have Letterboxd accounts. Letterboxd is somewhat similar to Goodreads if you're a reader, and you are able to post your top 4 favorite movies of all time on your profile. So I went to my favorite FilmTokers Letterboxd accounts and went through their top 4 favorite movies, and I have found one movie from each of their accounts that I have not seen before, so I thought it would be really fun to see if their taste aligns with mine. So the first film talker that I want to focus on is Cinema Joe. Cinema Joe is one of the first film talkers that I followed on TikTok. He has such a soothing voice and I love his recommendations and discussions and opinions about film, so I went to his Letterboxd account to figure out which of his favorite movies I'm going to watch for the first time ever. The first movie on his top 4 is Speed Racer, which I have not seen. Then it's Whisper of the Heart. Then he has Chungking Express. And finally he has Ocean's 12. I love the Ocean's trilogy and I've seen every single Ocean film that's come out, but the movie that I'm going to pick from Cinema Joe's top 4 list to see for the first time is Whisper of the Heart. Whisper of the Heart is a Studio Ghibli film that I have never seen before. I didn't really grow up watching Studio Ghibli, so whenever I watch a Studio Ghibli film, it's usually for the first time ever. So let's read the synopsis of the film. Shizuku has a simple life dominated by her love for stories and writing. One day she notices that all her library books have been previously checked out by the same person, Seiji Amasawa. I'm a really big fan of Studio Ghibli since I've gotten into the films over the past couple of years, and I'm really excited that I'm able to watch this with my Cinebun Club, which is my digital movie club over on my Discord. Anyone is free to join this club. Every single month we watch a new film together, and Whisper of the Heart actually won the poll for May, which was centered around a theme of soft and quiet movies. So I'm really excited to be able to not only watch this for the first time, but also watch it with my movie club because I love everyone's commentary and I can't wait to see what I'm going to think of it. So let's move on to the footage of me watching Whisper of the Heart with my movie club. So I finally saw Whisper of the Heart and I fell in love with this movie. It is so soft and tender. It is a beautiful film about following your passion and honing your craft and not being afraid of trying to get into a new skill that you may not necessarily be good at from the start. It reminded me to really follow my passions and to be creative and to not be afraid of being bad at the beginning. The whole fun of being a writer like Shizuku is you get to hone your craft. You get to polish your writing, you get to go back and add some more words or take out other sentences and really make your writing as strong as possible. And I feel like this movie came in the perfect time in my life. I've been feeling really lost within myself and I don't really know my purpose in life, and this movie explored what it's like to be lost, what it's like to find your purpose and surround yourself with other creative people who push you forward and encourage you. And this movie was visually stunning, beautiful in its messaging, and it was just such a soft-hearted film that I can see myself rewatching over and over again. I had such a great time watching it. I think it is the perfect length. It's a little bit under 2 hours, and I think it explores its story so perfectly without feeling rushed or too slow, and this movie quickly became a new favorite movie of mine. So I'm really happy that I was able to watch it because of not only my movie club, but also because it's on Cinema Joe's top 4 on Letterboxd. I can completely understand why it would be on his top 4. I think it's just such a beautiful movie with a beautiful message, and it seems like it's not necessarily the most popular Studio Ghibli film, which I think is really interesting because I think if you love Kiki's Delivery Service, you would also love Whisper of the Heart because they kind of hold hands with each other. Kiki's Delivery Service explores what it's like to follow your passions, but also eventually become burned out, while Whisper of the Heart explores following your passion and not being afraid of failure. So those two movies go hand in hand with one another, and they're both so beautiful and both so inspiring. When I left Whisper of the Heart, I felt inspired to create art, to get back into my writing, to get back into my hobbies because I've been neglecting them so much. And this movie just really left an impression on me, and I'm so happy I finally was able to see it because of this really fun experiment. The next film talker that I'm going to focus on is Monica. I actually discovered Monica over on YouTube. I found her YouTube channel and it's centered all around these beautiful aesthetic movie recommendations and movie vlogs, and I fell in love with her film style and her editing style. She always has these great movie recommendations that fit my taste to a T, and I followed her over on YouTube and Instagram and eventually TikTok, and I just love her content. It is so airy, it is so vibrant, it is so unique and so Monica, and we've actually become mutuals, and I just love her work so much. So I went over to her Letterboxd to find her top 4, and her top 4 are Burning, Only Yesterday, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and Monster. I've actually never seen Burning, Only Yesterday, and Monster, but I've decided to watch Only Yesterday because I've never seen it before. It's a Studio Ghibli film, and I have a really soft goal of trying to see every Studio Ghibli film, so whenever I have the chance to watch a Studio Ghibli film for the first time ever, I always jump at that opportunity. So let's go watch Only Yesterday for the first time ever to see if Monica and I have the same movie taste. So I watched Only Yesterday, and I think it actually might be one of my least favorite Studio Ghibli films, and this is no shade to Monica because I love her recommendations. I've watched so many other movies that she's recommended and I've loved them, but I think I just didn't vibe with Only Yesterday because I didn't really enjoy the characters and the narrative structure of the film. Only Yesterday follows Taiko, who is flashing between her past and her present as she goes to visit her family in the countryside, and we get to follow her as she is growing up with her older sisters and her mother and her father, and they have a really rocky relationship together. The sisters are mean to her father doesn't really love her mother continually makes fun of her intelligence and her character, and then we get to follow Taiko as she is older and she is visiting the same countryside that she visited as a child, and she's thinking about her life and her memories in the countryside and her memories with her family, and it's a reflection of how much she's grown as a person and how she reminisces about her past as an adult. And I think the reason why I didn't enjoy the story was because, one, her family was so incredibly cruel to the main character. They said some really heinous things that made me feel so bad for Taiko. It felt like her upbringing was so hostile towards her specifically, because she even said that she felt like she wasn't really related to this family because they treated her so much like an outsider, and it made me so sad to witness that, and I'm not used to seeing so much cruelty in a Studio Ghibli film. I know there are a lot of Studio Ghibli films that will make you cry and just are really dark, but I've only ever really seen the lighter ones, so seeing that was so sad to me. And I also thought the structure of the movie could have been so much stronger if we didn't have constant flashbacks to the past. I think it really took me out of the story and it put me into this environment that I didn't really enjoy because I didn't care for the family of Taiko, and I just wanted to see her growth as an adult. So this is probably one of my least favorite Studio Ghibli films, but again, this is not discrediting Monica's recommendations. Her movie recommendations are so good and so up my alley. I think this is just one instance where the movie that she recommended I just did not jive with, and that's going to happen with some of your favorite creators. Sometimes they're going to love something that you don't necessarily enjoy. It's really all a matter of taste and how people enjoy story structures and characters, and it all just resonates with different people in different ways. So I'm really happy I was able to add another Studio Ghibli film to my soft goal of watching every single Studio Ghibli film ever made, and I'm really happy I was able to try out one of Monika's favorite movies. The next film talker that I want to focus on is Straw Hat Goofy, who I believe was the first film talker that I've ever followed on TikTok when I first created my account. So I've actually seen 3 of the 4 movies that he has as his favorite movies on Letterboxd, and the first one is Her. The second one is Your Name, the third is The Shawshank Redemption, and the fourth one is Spider-Man 2. I've seen Her, Shawshank Redemption, and Spider-Man 2, so I'm going to be focusing on Your Name, which I have heard so many things about, and so many people love this movie. And when I actually took it out from my library to rent the DVD, the librarian said that is an amazing movie and I'm really going to love it. So let's look into the synopsis before I start the movie. So it says, high schoolers Mitsuha and Taki are complete strangers living separate lives. But one night, they suddenly switch places. Mitsuha wakes up in Taki's body and he in hers. This bizarre occurrence continues to happen randomly, and the two must adjust their lives around each other. So let's go watch Your Name so I can share all my thoughts about it. So I watched Your Name and I gave it a 4 out of 5 on Letterboxd, and I actually really enjoyed it. The story was so ethereal and beautiful. Every single shot was absolutely stunning. I haven't seen a lot of animes, but this most definitely is one of the prettiest animated movies I've ever seen in my life. And the story overall was also beautiful with its exploration of time and relationships and the bond that these two characters have with one another because they keep switching lives and they keep involving themselves in each other's worlds, and eventually their worlds collide in this way that feels so grand. I actually like how vague the synopsis is on Letterboxd because I think you have to go into this movie without knowing anything. I didn't know anything about the plot and I didn't read the synopsis on Letterboxd before watching the movie, so I really went in without knowing much, and I was immersed in this really beautiful, intricate story that left an impression on me. And whenever people ask me for a beautiful animated movie to watch, I will most definitely recommend not only Ratatouille, but Your Name, because the story was just so stunning. Like every single moment, I was in awe of the art style, the direction, the overall story that it has to share, and it was so beautiful and so touching. And I can most definitely see why Straw Hat Goofy has this on his top 4 on Letterboxd, because this movie was just absolutely stunning. Now let's move on to another creator that I love over on TikTok, and it is Guy with a Movie Camera, also known as Reese. I feel like you cannot be in the movie community on TikTok without knowing about Reese because he has such a large presence in this community. I think he started out working on the Mrs. Maisel set and he created content for that show, which I also love, and he got so big on TikTok that he began working with other movie companies and other movies in general to create social content for them, and he has just made such a large impact in the film community on TikTok. He's been invited to Cannes, he's been invited to the Oscars. Like, Reese has really made a name for himself in the movie community on TikTok, and I'm so proud of him because I love his humor and I just am always looking forward to a new video of his on TikTok. His top 4 features The Thing, The Princess Bride, Alien, and Eyes Wide Shut. The only movie that I've seen on his top 4 on Letterboxd is The Princess Bride, and the movie that I think I'm going to watch from Reese's top 4 on Letterboxd is The Thing, because I've seen it on so many lists on Letterboxd and I just have to bite the bullet and finally watch it because I feel like I'm totally out of the loop with The Thing, and I want to finally be able to say that I've seen the movie and share my thoughts about it. Guys, I think The Thing and Only Yesterday are tied for my least favorite movies in this entire video, but for me, The Thing just wasn't my type of movie. I don't really watch a lot of alien movies. I did enjoy the movie Alien. I thought it was a really fun, thrilling movie to see, but The Thing was a movie that just could not grasp my attention, even though it was full of tension and it had these really sick practical effects that I do appreciate because I think looking at this movie from the perspective of someone in 2024, comparing it to a movie created in the 80s, I do think the practical effects are amazing and really outstanding and just memorable. I'm always going to think about the practical effects in The Thing when I think back on this movie, but overall the story just did not click for me, and I'm just not an alien movie type of person. And of course you're not going to love every single movie that you see, even if someone that you admire highly recommends it. We just all have different tastes, we all have different preferences. I'm happy I was able to finally say that I saw The Thing, but overall it was just not my type of thing. So take that as you will. If you love alien movies and if you want to see practical effects used in horror films, if you want to watch a classic horror film, I would highly recommend The Thing. But if you're like me and you don't really like alien movies and it's just not your type of thing, then The Thing might not be your thing, you know? The next film talker that I want to focus on is Jay Stubes. Jay Stubes is probably one of my ultimate favorite film talkers because she is so nuanced and articulate when she discusses film and TV. I love her perspectives. I love hearing her opinions about different films and different aspects of my favorite pieces of media. She always makes me think a little bit deeper about the media that I'm consuming, and I just love the discussions that she takes part in because I always feel like I'm learning something new when I engage with her content. So when I initially started planning this video, I went over to her Letterboxd and I found The Last Unicorn in her top 4, and I decided to focus on that film because I've never seen it before. But then I recently went to her top 4 on Letterboxd and I saw that she changed it. So The Last Unicorn is not on this list, but I already saw The Last Unicorn, so that causes a little bit of an issue. But I did make sure to check her podcast, and she did mention that The Last Unicorn is one of her favorite movies, so I'm not losing my marbles. She did previously have it in her top 4 on Letterboxd. She just updated her Letterboxd top 4, so you're just going to have to believe me that The Last Unicorn was on this list. But the updated list includes Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Labyrinth, Signs, and Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? I've only seen Signs from this list, and when it previously had The Last Unicorn, I did not see The Last Unicorn, so I decided to pick that one because I've noticed that a lot of my favorite film talkers have a lot of animated movies on their top 4 on Letterboxd, and I love animated movies. I think they're such an undervalued form of media that Hollywood doesn't necessarily value, and Hollywood only ever sees animated films as children's movies. But animated films like Your Name and Whisper of the Heart can be so much more than just a children's movie. It can resonate with people of all ages. The Last Unicorn came out in 1982, and it says it follows a beautiful unicorn set out to learn if she truly is the last of her kind in this sparkling animated musical. So let's go watch The Last Unicorn so I can share all my thoughts about it to see if it becomes a new favorite movie of mine. So I saw The Last Unicorn and I thought it was so beautifully animated. It had that nostalgic hand-drawn animation that I love, like Beauty and the Beast and The Lion King and Snow White. It's just such a beautiful piece of art that you can really tell they put a lot of love into. The Last Unicorn has these beautiful sceneries and really unique animation styles when it comes to the people in the movies, and I just also loved the unicorn herself. She was so beautiful and elegant, and while I didn't necessarily connect with the plot and it didn't become a new favorite movie of mine, I think I would have deeply appreciated it as a child. I think I would have fallen in love with this world and this fantasy, and I think I would have really enjoyed watching it as a child. So watching it from this current perspective where I'm 26 years old, I can really appreciate the art style, I can really appreciate the story, but again, it didn't become a new favorite movie of mine. But it was also really fun to be able to dive into one of Jay Stubes' favorite movies to see what she really enjoys, because I do believe that she also majored in animation, so seeing a movie that most probably inspired her to want to study animation was really cool. It gives you a new perspective to the people that you admire on Film Talk. You get to see the movies that really influenced them to become the creator that they are. So I'm really happy I was able to try this because this felt like such a niche film that I've never really heard of before, and I was able to see it and it really opened my eyes to this really cool 80s type of animation that I've never really delved into before. It's really unique, it's really quirky and a little bit funky, and I just thought it was a beautiful animated movie, but again, like not my new favorite movie of all time, but I'm really happy I saw it either way. So let's move on to my last FilmToker's favorite film to see if it becomes a new favorite of mine, and we're going to be focusing on Bobby. Bobby is a pop culture enthusiast over on TikTok, and they run the afternoon special, and Bobby's one of my favorite FilmTokers because I love how soothing she is when she discusses pop culture and movies and TV shows. I always, again, feel like I'm learning something new because she offers this really educational perspective when it comes to pop culture, and you get to learn a little bit more about some of your favorite things that feel so nostalgic. So I went over to Bobby's Letterboxd to see her top 4 favorite films. The first one is Jurassic Park, Bring It On, Election, and Scooby-Doo. I've seen Jurassic Park and I've seen Scooby-Doo, and I love both of those films, and I really wanted to focus on Bring It On because I've never actually seen it before. I was never one to like sports as a teenager, so any movie about sports I just kind of avoided, but now that I'm an adult, I can appreciate different types of films and I can appreciate things that I'm not necessarily interested in a movie. So I wanted to watch Bring It On because so many of my friends love the movie, and so many people feel a nostalgic attachment to the film, so I wanted to be able to see it to finally say that I saw Bring It On. So let's go watch Bring It On, and then I'll report back with my thoughts. Guys, I loved Bring It On. It was such a cute movie, and for the briefest moment, I missed high school. Even though my high school was nothing like Bring It On, it reminded me so much of the fact that I was friends with a lot of people on the competitive cheer team, and my school's team actually did really well, so I was always hearing updates, I was always hearing about their routine. I got to see their routines because they showed me when they went to the state finals and they won, and it reminded me so much of that part of my life in high school, and it made me miss high school for like the tiniest moment before that feeling quickly fell away and I just recognized that I would not enjoy going back to high school. But Bring It On had this Lizzie McGuire nostalgic energy to it. It was acted and kind of edited in a very similar way where it just feels so youthful and lively, and it just makes you miss that era of your life, even though it just is not an accurate reflection of high school. I really loved the competition between the two teams and the two schools. I really loved both of the cheer captains. It was funny, it kept my attention, and I really enjoyed it, and I'm really happy I was finally able to see Bring It On. And the costumes are so iconic, the routines are so iconic. It definitely holds up to 2024. Like, their routines were actually very impressive. I just wonder how much training went into this movie to create those really crisp and clean routines, and I'm just really happy I saw Bring It On. This is a really fun experiment, and I'm really happy I was able to try out some of my favorite FilmTokers' favorite movies because it makes me feel like I know them a little bit more as a FilmToker and what they enjoy out of films and what inspires them and inspired them to most probably become a FilmToker. And it was just a really fun experiment to push me out of my comfort zone as a movie watcher, and also to just appreciate so many different types of films, like a Studio Ghibli film, a classic 80s animated movie, a classic nostalgic early 2000s movie. There are so many different films that I got to see in this video. Let me know if there are any other movie or TV related experiments that you would like to see from me in the future. I really love the idea of doing a movie type of vlog, sharing my thoughts about it, and just trying out new types of movies because it really does push me out of my comfort zone, and that's what I'm trying to do as a movie watcher. If you haven't subscribed to this channel already, be sure to do so to see more videos from me in the future. If you want to connect with me anywhere else on social media, all my links will be down below. If you stayed this far in the video, leave a clapper emoji to see who stays for the longest in all my videos. If you do, I really do appreciate you. Be sure to leave a comment of what your favorite movie is, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye!